Have you started looking around at your parents, your uncles, your aunts, maybe even your siblings, and thinking, hmm, they are getting older. And as you kind of become aware of that, you start to maybe think about yourself, right? So maybe you're caring for an older parent, or you're seeing changes that are worrying, or maybe you've even had a parent pass away. And it's kind of like a big wake up call. So I'm 51, I'm not 25 anymore. I see what's happening. And then I start to think, well, in 30 years, I'll be 81. What will my life look like then? What will my lifestyle look like? Will I be able to go out and hike every day like I do now? Will I be able to jump up and say, hey, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go shopping and walk around, and I'm going to be vibrant and healthy and energetic and being able to do all the things that I want to do, whether it's hanging out with, maybe I'll have some grandchildren, traveling, and just enjoying the things that we do take for granted when we're 50 or 40 or 30 or definitely 20. that health, that vibrancy, that energy, that stamina that comes more easily to us when we're younger. So if you're in that place where you're starting to question, what can I do now to make sure that my lifestyle is, I'm able to live the lifestyle that I want 20, 30, 40 years from now, then I have a very interesting conversation that I'd like to share with you. So one of the things about getting older is that we get wiser, and we can sort of take the time to look at our lives and say, well, what's working, what's not? And look at our health and say, what's working, what's not? But a lot of times, many of us, including me, get caught up in this negative self-talk of, I can't do that. I've tried that before and it didn't work and I failed, and so it's probably not going to work this time. Or we get stuck in these old stories of who we are, this identity that we create for ourselves. So maybe part of that identity for you is, I'm not that active, or it's hard for me to work out, or I don't like to work out. I don't like to go outside in the winter and hike, whatever it is. Or maybe it's, I've tried so many times to be healthy before and I end up giving up all the time. So what's different? What's going to be different from now, going forward from now? And that's where I want to introduce to you the concept that I learned from Gay and Katie Hendricks of the Hendricks Institute. And it's a simple phrase that you can use whenever you want, and it's super handy. And the phrase is, that was then, this is now. And so whenever you find yourself getting caught up in that negative self-talk, like, oh, you're not good enough, or you're not working hard enough, or you need to do more, or this, you've tried this before and it hasn't worked in the past. Whenever you start kind of feeling, having those thoughts and then having that hit, that feeling of, oh, gosh, you're right. I told you weren't good enough, and look, you proved yourself right. You proved me right. Those kind of thoughts, they feel bad. They feel negative. They feel discouraging and disappointing. So we don't want to have them. They're going to come, but we don't want them to linger. Let's put it that way. So the way that we can stop them is to, number one, be aware. When those thoughts are coming, when they're floating in, you can kind of want them to float out. But if you're not even paying attention and it's just on autopilot, because so many of our thoughts are just repetitive, right? So we get into this spiral of just always saying those same negative things day after day after day. We're not even aware of it. So I want you to first bring your awareness to that. That's the first exercise to work on. But then the next step is to say, I wonder if I could tell a different story. And that's where you can say, like, if you hear yourself saying, oh, you've tried this before and you kind of suck at it, so what do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are? Oh, that's an old story that I don't want to tell anymore. That was them, and this is now. This is now. This is where I am taking care of myself. I'm doing it for love and for no other reason. Oh, but, you've done diets before and you've failed. Oh, right, that was then. This is now. Now, I'm going to do it with a different approach. I'm going to work on my mindset. And so you can use that was then, this is now. That was then, this is now. And I suggest, I know you may feel a little silly doing it, but I actually suggest moving your body. You can move into the past, move into the future, and use your body to, the term is called bodify. Bodify the fact that you're leaving that old story behind and you're now starting to tell a new story, whatever that story is. That was then. This is now. And it's a totally different approach because it's a nice little short sentence that you can say in your head. Like you'll find those thoughts creeping in, I promise you. They're never going to go away. You know, we're never really going to arrive at enlightenment when it comes to, you know, how we view our bodies and food. We're just evolving. We're just on a journey together, hopefully together. And so it's not about arriving and never having those negative thoughts. It's about, oh, I'm aware that I'm having those negative thoughts. And let me just put that in the old story bin. And let me remind myself to tell the new story, which is I have vitality and energy and I love myself. And I'm doing this because it feels good. I'm doing it because it feels good and I deserve it. I deserve to feel good. I deserve to have fun and be energized and be healthy. That's the new story. Well, at least that's my new story. You have to create your own. But just having that little phrase can help you to kind of separate that out and say, no, I'm not indulging in that right now. So this is a great way actually to build your health because our health really comes from our thoughts. All of our health practices, and even when you have negative thoughts, that creates a reaction in your body. There's a physiological reaction to that, along the lines of stress, right? So when we're constantly having those negative thoughts, the body responds to that. But when you're aware and you say, well, no, I think I'm going to do something else now, the body responds to that feeling good of like, wow, I can do this. I'm going to figure this out. And I've done a lot before and I appreciate myself. I appreciate all the efforts that I've made. Instead of, oh, you've tried and you failed. It's like, wow, I did all these things and I learned so much. And I'm going to take a lot of those good things that I learned and I'm going to apply them now. And I'm going to let the bad behavior and the bad stuff, I'm going to let that go. It's not serving me. And that is the path to a beautiful, enjoyable, sustainable, and pleasurable journey toward health.